Greetings, boys and girls. It is now time for our phonics story. It's called Fire, Fire, and it's about two boys and a fire. I wonder what happens. Listen while I read the book to you first, and then you read the book on your own. Fire, Fire by Anne Hughes. Steve and Bert go to see Gary Stoner. They find the right home. "Gary," says Steve. "Gary, we're here." "Shh," says Bert. "The Stoner's baby may be asleep. Mr. Stoner may be asleep too. He loads trains most of the night and sleeps most of the day." "I'll stay here and wait for Gary," says Steve. He finds a seat by the street. "I'll go home," says Bert. Steve waves. Slowly, the daylight goes away. The street lights glow. Most of the homes glow too. A few homes don't glow. The Stoner's home shows no light. "Maybe they're away," says Steve. He turns to go. He sees the side of the Stoner's home. "Wait," he says, "I do see a light." The light grows brighter and brighter. The light rises and leaps. "Flames!" says Steve. "A fire! By the stove!" Mr. Gold drives by. "Mr. Gold," says Steve. "Wait! See the Stoner's home? Do you see the flames?" Mr. Gold uses the radio right away. "Fire!" he says. "The Stoner's home, Vine Street and East 3rd. "I don't see the Stoners," says Steve. "They may be away," says Mr. Gold. "Or they may be asleep," says Steve. "Or by the TV," says Mr. Gold. "We need to use your siren," says Steve. "They'll hear the siren." "Right," says Mr. Gold. "You use the siren and I'll try to find the Stoners." Mr. Gold goes to find the Stoners. Steve stays behind and uses the siren. Bert returns and sees the flames. He uses the siren too. Soon they see Gary and Mary. Mr. Gold leads Mrs. Stoner to the street too. She holds the baby. "They were by the TV," says Mr. Gold. They weren't near the fire. The fire's by the stove and the stairs. The flames leap higher and higher. "I don't see Mr. Stoner," says Bert. "He wasn't by the TV," says Mr. Gold. "Maybe he's away." "No," says Gary. "He's home. Do you see the room over the flames? He's asleep." Gary leads Mr. Gold to the stairs. Steve sees flames below Mr. Stoner. "Wait," says Steve. "Don't slide. You'll be too near the fire." "Wait for the firefighters," says Mr. Gold. "They'll save you." "No," says Mr. Stoner. "See the flames behind me? They're too near. I need to leave right away." "Hold tight to the rope, Mr. Stoner," says Steve. "Use your feet too. You'll be safe. Mr. Stoner holds tight to the rope. He uses both feet. Soon, he feels the pole. Steve slides to the street first. Soon, Mr. Stoner slides to the street too. "I'm safe," he says. "I'm safe." He hurries to Mrs. Stoner and Gary. He holds Mary and the baby. Soon, they hear new sirens. The firefighters drive to the Stoners' home. They see the flames. They leap to the street. The fire blazes. The flame rises higher and higher. The firefighters hold hoses and fight the fire bravely. Steam rises. Soon the flames die. Most of the firefighters go home. They wave to Steve and to the Stoners. Bert and Mr. Gold go home. They wave too. Later, the Stoners go to Steve's home for the night. "The firefighters were brave," says Steve to the Stoners. "You and Mr. Gold were brave too," says Mr. Stoner. "You saved my life." The end, boys and girls. Now, it's time for you to read the story on your own. You may begin. Great job, boys and girls. See you next time.